Morning crew, Andy here, slightly less knackered than last Sunday. Just turn this volume down. Way, there we go, look, I always forget to do that. And probably the air compressor is going to fire up again shortly as well. Roger Heaps, 2 formats of communication, Roger. Good morning, Andy, from a very wet and windy Bluff. It's absolutely gorgeous up here near Taupo this morning. Most unlike last Sunday when it was, well, as you well know, we had rain on the inside of the garage as well as on the outside. Simon, morning Simon, hope you're all good, sir. Yes, very wet and nasty in the UK as well. Well, another reason why I'm not in the UK, I suppose. Thanks, Simon. Alan Cook, hi Andy, good morning Alan, hope you're all good. Jim Haynes, I'm kind of here at our final sprint car race of the season in Cumberland, Maryland. Oh, a fly. Go away, fly. Jeez. In Maryland, and it's the final one, so good luck Jim. Jim K, so it looks like this is the new starting time. It is. New Zealand clocks have changed. It is for me the time hasn't changed. It's 8:30 a.m. on Sunday morning. Oh, got loads of adverts on here now. So my apologies. I think the rest of the world will catch up at some point if you have the daylight savings going on. Oh my word, my laptop's going mental at the moment. So it is, and my apologies if you're still in bed or it's very, very late, or maybe not quite so late. I don't know. Really early in the morning it could be. So yes, Jim, you are correct. Killswitch BB, morning buddy. Morning Killswitch BB, hope you're all good, sir. It's been a really busy few days for me, to be honest. Lots more fabrication jobs coming in. I feel like a fabrication shop rather than a repair shop for vehicles at the moment. Just long days, lots of cutting, drilling, all that kind of stuff. I'll show you what I've done, or what I did yesterday on Mrs. Mechanic. We got quite a bit done, and we'll be continuing with that, well, as soon as the live stream's finished. But I do have an ROV to underseal as the last job today, and then I can get straight in the shower and get all the black paint back off me again. It's also a really good thing to destroy Andy Mechanic shirts, I've found out, so I'm going to be wearing my old hoodie for that. Off-road fan, good morning Andy, good morning off-road fan, good to have you on board, sir. We've got 23 people on board, way too early for any kind of likes at the moment. Now then, Machine NZ, here we go. Morning Andy, great weather here in the Naki. Oh good, well it's nice weather up here too, and excellent segue for the first arrival in the post. Now this actually came, oh my word, probably about 10 days ago, maybe slightly longer than that, and I was going to get Tool Girl Holly to open this during the live stream last Sunday, but as you well know, because of the clock's change and she was sort of hemmed in due to the weather, she actually arrived nanoseconds after I pressed the finish live stream button. Honestly, sod's law, if I'd waited another 5 or 10 seconds, she'd have been on the live stream as promised. So my sincere apologies for those of you that hung on there waiting for Holly to join us. She was pretty gutted, to be honest, that she wasn't able to join in. She does like the live streams, and we will definitely do one. I think we might be doing a live stream actually from a pub up in Auckland at some point one evening, so I don't know what time that'll be for you guys around the world, but obviously varying times. I'll try and put some kind of social media notification out in advance to let you all know it's going to happen, because she really wants to answer your questions, and I'm sure you've got lots of questions for her. Well, I know you have, because I keep answering them. Much better if she answers them herself, to be honest. Simon Roll, Jim K, till all the clocks change, lol, that's right. Off-road fan, good morning Andy. Machine NZ, right, here we go. Right, we're going to find out what's in here. Oh my word. Feels pretty rigid. Could be a bit of cardboard in there. I like to keep all the envelopes and stuff. I don't get that much fan mail, to be honest, so I keep everything. It's all in the Tool Girl cupboard somewhere. Right, sorry, to camera, Andy, to camera. We've got what looks like a letter. And what also looks like, oh yes, we have a sticker for the camera. That's a cool sticker, I like that. 25.4. Okay, What's the reference? 25.4 must be a number that means something to you. Social message me, and we'll find a DM, isn't it? Digital message. DM me and tell me what it's all about. That's cool. I like that. Very, very smart. Okay, one letter coming up. What does Erico say? And he says, good morning, and oh, hi Andy, it says. Thanks for sending me one of your stickers. I'll give you a shout out on my next video. Thank you very much. In the envelope is one of mine. Would be much appreciated if you could give my channel a shout out in either your next video or live stream. Well, I'll do better than that, Kevin. I'll do both. So you need to check out, and I have watched a couple, you need to check out the Machine NZ YouTube channel. Very cool little projects. He makes stuff in his garage, little models and stuff, and yeah, interesting, and I think reasonably well presented as well, actually. So good job there, Kevin. And I'll also give you another shout out in my next filmed video rather than a live stream. And of course, your sticker will live forever on the cabinet on the new racking as well. So I'll get that put up today. Moving on to more stickers, actually. So thanks for the letter there, Kevin. Appreciate that. And that will also live, your letter and envelope, and probably the piece of cardboard, will live in that cupboard as well forever. So you'll know it's there safe and sound. Now, just moving on with some more stickers. I was working with Tool Girl Lilli, as you know, last Saturday and Sunday, and we did all sorts of stuff. And one of the jobs we did was replace the swing arm bearings. Now, getting the, as you know, getting the swing arm out of the frame, the actual spindle, was an absolute nightmare, which is common on that model of bike. And it's only, what, 3.5, 4 years old? Shouldn't be that hard, but when they work in a farm environment, it's a really, really harsh environment, and well, the dirt and the grime and the corrosion, it gets everywhere. But within the swing arm bearings, I mean, I know I'm going to get raped for this, but we did use some all balls. This is what was supplied to me, so we've got a nice cool all balls sticker to go on the cabinet as well. And Alan, who owns the CB750K2, and Alan, if you're watching this, my sincere apologies. I haven't been able to do any more work on your bike at the moment. It's all sort of on the back burner. All these fabrication projects are time dependent. I know the bike is as well, but it's not quite as time dependent as what I've got these other jobs to do. So I have to get them done. But Alan used to work for Husqvarna, all the chainsaws and strimmers and that kind of stuff. And we were having a beer in his garage one night a few weeks ago. And I gave him one of the, in fact, I think he was the first person to get the new Tool Girl Lilli toolbox sticker. And it's pride of place, and he has a row of cabinets, steel cabinets in his workshop. And it's got pride of place with all the other thousands of stickers. He has loads and loads of stickers on there. He says, Andy, you can have one of these, a Husqvarna sticker. And this actually, it's not just a sticker. This appears to be an actual on vehicle, maybe a lawnmower bonnet sticker or something. It's actually in 2 pieces, and it's quite rigid as well. That's going to live again on the cabinet at some point. I might stick that on later on today after I've had a beer or two. And he also gave me one of these as well. He's got an old Triumph Bonneville, one of the original ones, and he had some stickers made up. Or these are maybe the stickers you can buy aftermarket that go on the headstock, run down there, made in England. So again, that's going to go somewhere on the cabinet. I think it'll have to have, I'm not sure about, it doesn't have a white background actually, based on what I saw on the bike. So I might have to put a little white background on it because it'll get lost completely on the cabinet, because it's almost the same color, isn't it? And of course, I found these in my car. I've got some 3M stickers, which I usually put on the ROVs to show that 3M are supplying the underseal, the underbody sealant for those vehicles as a sponsorship for the surf clubs. So, you know, I'm a big fan of 3M, so we'll stick that up on the cabinet as well. So there you go. That's all the stickers I've got this week. Now, a good little segue again is moving on to Alan's bike, because, you know, it's good to do a bit of an update. But before we do that, let's just go back to the comments, because I've just noticed that there's lots of them again. So let's try and catch up with the comments, because I do ramble on. Right, Jeremiah Lilli. Good afternoon from California. Good afternoon, Jeremiah. Good to have you on board. We've got Bob Kinney. Bob's a regular viewer. Good morning, Bob. Good morning, Andy, to you. Thank you very much. Mike Adams, good Sunday morning to you, Andy, though it's still Saturday afternoon here. It's pretty much Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, everywhere in the world, isn't it? Or maybe Saturday morning if you go far enough away. But it's definitely Sunday morning here. It really is. My alarm went off at 7 o'clock and I really couldn't be bothered to get out of bed at 7 o'clock, so I had another 15 minutes in bed. Oh, good warm, well, almost hot coffee. It was really hot earlier on. Now then, Jim K. I'm still at work and happy I started watching earlier than last week. Missed the first half hour. Sorry, Jim. I would apologise, but I'm not in charge of the clock changing here in New Zealand. So it's not really my fault. It actually caught me out as well, Jim. You almost didn't get a live stream, to be honest. Mike Adams, I'm with you on the extra work. I'm in the process of replacing the floor in my sister's mobile home. Man, that must be a big job. I suppose you've got to rip out all the cupboards as well to get it to do a full floor. Man, not easy. Not easy at all. It's not a 5-minute job. Connor K. Good morning, Connor. Hope you're all good, sir. Good morning, Andy. Greetings from Portugal. Oh, man, it would be nice to be in Portugal, right? Well, I don't know. What's the COVID like down there? I've never actually been to Portugal. I've spent a lot of time in Spain. I say a lot of time. I lived in Barcelona for a while. Driven up and down the mountains, the Pyrenees. And I've driven all the way down to the Rock, the Gibraltar Rock. Never actually made it over the water though. But hey, it's all good. And drove all the way around France as well. A few times actually. And I did a bike ride through 13 countries with my brother Phil. I think it was 13 countries I covered in, I think, 10 days. And because it was Europe, we decided not to go through any passport controls because you don't actually have to, I don't think. We didn't think so at the time. So we found all these old farm tracks and stuff and crossed the borders through the mountains without going through border control. It was fantastic, quite scary because we didn't really know whether we were legal or not. But we ended up finding some really good mountain tracks and stuff on the bikes. It's good fun. Things keep falling from the ceiling. That's not alive, so we're all good. Chris Brown. Hang on a minute. Something to do with a phallus. Don't get that. You'll have to explain yourself there, Chris. Fireblade 2102. Morning, Andy. Just checking in. Weather atrocious in the UK. What? Hang on. Oh, it is. Yes. Simon was saying it was raining and stuff and horrible over there as well. Yeah. So that's why I'm not in the UK. Did you send it over? Yeah, I believe so. That was the sticker, right? I know there's one sticker hasn't gone out, which was really late. The address came through, or the request came through really late. So Mrs. Mechanic, I don't think, has processed that one yet. But all the other stickers have gone out. So it does take a while to get to England. I remember when we lived in England, Mrs. Mechanic's family, who live in New Zealand, have been here a long time, they sent stuff across. It would take, well, I don't know, at least 4 weeks to get to England. It was crazy. I don't know what it's like at the moment, but if you've, I've definitely sent it. Please let me know when it turns up because I'm getting a bit worried now. Machine NZ, cheers for the shout out. No problem at all, Kevin. Anytime. Simon Raw, well, 25.4 is the outer OD of the Mark. The MK, do you mean the Mark 6 or the Mark 600? I don't know. MK 600 Bandit. Front brake piston. I know it's sad knowing that off the top of my head. Simon, I used to be the same with all the little Suzuki Jeeps we used to work on. I used to know all the part numbers. 62072RS for the rear wheel bearings. Front kingpin bearings 30302s. Yes. And Daihatsu F50 and F55s are 30303s for the front. And honestly, the stuff you remember is, and I haven't worked on a little Suzuki Jeep for 15 years, at least, I would say. Well, maybe almost 15 years. Yeah. Machine NZ, got your you got my picture of your sticker besides one of my model engines. I did, and it went on my Instagram. It went on my Instagram almost immediately. So it's definitely out there, and thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it. I'm in the process. Well, I'm not in the process. Well, I am. I'm in the very early stages of. I'm thinking about it. I need to review or, change the intro video and the credits videos that play at the start of each video that go out. I'm not tempted to make it any shorter. I know some people go, "Oh, it's too long, Andy, make it shorter," but there's lots of stuff to show, and it might be the first time that somebody's come to the channel, and it's nice for them to see all the different stuff, isn't it? Try and entice them to hang around a bit longer. Matt Salmon. Hi, Andy. Been messing about with the valve clearances on my gas 250. Do you actually gain any power by doing it? Thanks, Matt. No, valve clearances just need to be within spec. Messing around with valve clearances isn't, unless they're outside spec, which would then cause a drop in power, especially if they're significantly low. If they're too much, they're going to rattle the nuts off, and then they're not going to open as much. So again, you're going to lose power. So just get it right. It's not going to help power. It's just going to give you what you're supposed to get. And it should be right. That's the whole idea of servicing your bike. Jim K. Andy, have you seen the emblems that I used on boats that can't be shown on this channel? Very nice quality. I put one on my truck. No, I haven't. I think a couple of guys at work on their utes, they've got a nice chrome, or what looks like chrome logo with the round bit. It does look very smart, I must admit. I tend to prefer to stay completely incognito when I'm out on the road, so I can't put any kind of stuff on the vehicle. I'd rather it stay completely blank. Don't ask why. Okay, Gary Garnett. Hi, Andy and crew from Dubai. It's almost midnight here, and I have 5 hours before I go to work. That sounds a bit like me at the moment. Honestly, up early, to bed really late. Well, Gary, good to have you on board. I'm very grateful you're putting some of your time in to watch me dribble on the live stream. But yeah, don't be late to work, whatever you do. You need to get some rest. Fireblade 2102. Did you send the weather over? Not the sticker, but I would appreciate one. Fireblade 2102. I'm pretty sure I did. Just flick me another email with your address, and I'll double check that a sticker went to that address. Please. I just need to make sure. I can't send the weather over there. Sorry. It's too nice. It's got to stay in New Zealand. It's way too nice. Killswitch BB. My sticker has yet to be placed. I'm in the middle of cleaning the shed. Yes, it's amazing, isn't it, what one sticker can do? And Andy's asked for a photo, so hey, I better give the shed a bit of a spring clean and get it all tidied up. And it's not a quick job, is it? You find so much crap, and you make a pile of crap in the middle of the workshop that you've got to get rid of, and then you start going through it again. Maybe I'll keep that. Maybe I'll keep that somewhere. It might come in handy one day. And I'm just the same. I've got two. Well, there's another shed out the back, which is only a tin shed, has the air compressor in. You open the doors now, and it's just a wall of stuff. The poor little air compressor sat in the corner with just enough free air around it to keep it cool. Can't even get into service at the moment. And then Ben's shed that we built about a year ago, which was meant for Ben's stuff, is now probably 75% my stuff. And it's pretty full as well. There's still a little bit of room in there, but it's getting very close. And I need to build. I'm still building the carport, but I can't store things in the carport obviously because they'll get nicked. Jim K, you want to talk about bad weather? -1 Celsius last night. Jim, that's not cold. That's just a little bit chilly. You want to try driving out in the middle of winter on the North Yorkshire moors about 3 a.m. getting stuck in the snow, or driving through. In fact, the worst one I've ever done is driving through Bulgaria. January 2009 on my way to New Zealand, and we were sleeping in roof tents on the Nissan Patrol that we have, that's now a garden ornament, and it was -15 degrees Celsius on a night, and it wasn't just one night like that. And Mrs. Mechanic was out there in the cold with a petrol powered stove cooking us tea. in -15. And believe me, it took a long time to cook the tea. Very, very cold. Poor kids, honestly. I feel sorry for them. But anyway, that's what had to happen to get to New Zealand. But we're here now, and it's been a complete success. John Dwyer. John Dwyer. Morning, Andy. All good. Been working on my car. Camshaft broke, so I'm in the middle of replacing it. I mean, how often do camshafts break? I think I've only ever replaced one camshaft because it actually snapped. Replaced plenty because the lobes have worn through and stuff, which is a poor lubrication. But wow, tell me more. Tell me more, John. I'm interested to find out how it snapped. Did it seize in the journals? What happened there? V4 Bergman. Sadly burnt one of the exhaust valves on my Saab 96 V4 1974. So I have to disassemble about half the motor to fix it and replace the cylinder head, as the seat for the valve is probably burnt too. Can't you get a new valve seat put in? You could do. You don't have to replace the whole head, surely. And also, parts for those, you're probably going to have to source, well, you will have to source, no doubt, a second-hand head. Now, I'm pretty sure you could get it remachined at an engineering company. You wouldn't need to go and source another one. And if all the rest of it's good, then why replace it? Colbin Barita. I learn your works. Thanks. Well, that's a compliment. Thank you very much. I appreciate that you watch the videos and you find them helpful. That is the underlying theme to the Andy Mechanic channel, is to try and pass on my knowledge to help other people. Mike Adams. I'd like your advice on my Ingersoll Rand 50-gallon air compressor. The electric motor went out. Okay, so the electric motor failed to be continued. So you're going to need to replace the electric motor, by the looks of it. But tell me more, Mike. Matt Salmon, thanks for that. I did them to spec as there was no movement. Cheers. Holy shit, so they closed up. Yeah, well, that would definitely probably cause the engine to stall once it's warmed up and to start misfiring just before that. So yeah, they need to be right. Was there still plenty of adjustment left, or was it getting close? And is it bucket and shim on those? I don't know. I've not done one. Or is it tappet adjustment? Nice to know. Mike Adams, what do you suggest? Oh, we're back on the air compressor. What do you suggest? Oh, hang on. There we go. Call Ingersoll Rand for to buy a replacement or buy an aftermarket replacement. Now, an electric motor is an electric motor as long as you get the same spec. That's the important thing. I would also change the capacitor at the same time, because that might be possibly one of the reasons why it burnt out. If the capacitor's failed, then it's not going to get that sudden boost to get it started from stationary, and that can cause the motor to stall and burn out. I think we had that on one of ours in the UK. So definitely change it as a set, you know. Now then, Simon, that's when you find them lost tools cleaning the shed. Yes, the best time we ever had was we had a workshop. It was like a temporary build workshop for foot and mouth back in 2001 in the UK. I had to knock up this big shed that we built. We built it at the farm, sectional, took it down, installed it down at the car park at the off-road centre, did the year down there, and then of course we had a spare shed. We weren't allowed to use it down there anymore, so we brought it back to the farm and reassembled it. And it was all made from second-hand timber, and there was some big gaps in the floorboards that obviously when we bought the timber it must have been wet or something and it had shrunk. And you could even drop, spanners would easily fall down the gaps. It was, it was a reasonable sized gap. It was a real pain in the ass, but it actually made sweeping the floor really good because you could just, all the dirt just fell through. It was fantastic. And we used to maintain a lot of the quad bikes in there, so there was a lot of dirt on the floor. But I lost my last 10mm spanner down there, so I sent Ben under the shed, and it was up on bricks, on like breeze blocks. And Ben was only little at the time, so we sent him in with a torch to go and find tools. And we sort of pushed him underneath the shed, and he was, clambering around. And it did get, there was less height the further you got in, because it was on the yard was on a bit of a slope. And he thought he got stuck at one point, but he did find loads of tools. But he also found lots of spiders, and he was getting a bit traumatic, so we had to sort of drag him out. We put a rope around his waist so we could drag him, in case there was a problem, because there was no way anybody else could fit under there. But probably in hindsight, not the best father figure, really, for that kind of thing. But he's all right. He does a good job. He's got plenty of life skills now, and he knows not to go into sheds and get tools. Poor Ben, honestly. He constantly reminds me of all the bad things that I made him do. Right, hang on, got to catch up. Bart Jensen, good morning, Andy. Hello from the Netherlands. Long-time viewer. Well, that's nice to know. Thank you, Bart. But this is actually the first time commenting. My favourite videos are the autopsies. They're my favourite too. I like to find out what went wrong. Keep up the good work. Yeah, I don't do that many autopsies. In fact, I've not done that many at all. I suppose the last one really you could probably class as an autopsy was the one on the winch solenoid, where we dug in to find out why it had failed. I did one with on was it an LT300 quad engine stroke gearbox. It was actually the transfer box that had failed. That was pretty cool, working out what had happened to it and why it happened. And I've actually got another one of those engines kicking around as well, which I don't think has the same fault, but it has failed. So maybe I'll pull that apart one day as well. But yeah, I need to do more autopsies. I'm still trying to collect failed engines. I've got a few under the bench here that a scrapyard guy, a breaker for ATVs that closed down in New Zealand. He gave me a load of stuff, and he said, well, all of these are shot. Feel free to have them and pull them apart and find out what failed. So we've got lots of videos lined up, but I just need a bit of time to do them. Time is my enemy at the moment. It really is. So thanks, Bart. I appreciate that. Andrew Hodgkinson. Good evening from Coventry in the UK. Well, good evening, Andrew. Nice to have you on board. We've got 39 viewers and 16 likes. Matt Salmon. In my experience, cams normally snap due to the timing belt failure on diesels. You can guarantee, yeah, on a diesel, fair enough. Yeah. My old Nissan Patrol doesn't have a timing chain or a belt. They are gear driven from memory. Live forever. It's great. UK Weekend Workshop. Who can we hear off camera? Probably a neighbour. I didn't notice anything. Kids, neighbours. At least nobody's cutting the grass this morning. Just you wait. Any minute now they're going to fire up some kind of strimmer or lawnmower or something. So I don't know, UK Weekend Workshop. Andrew Hodgkinson, big thumbs up. Cheers, mate. John Dwyer. It broke at the driven end, breaking the end off. Wow. Okay. That's odd. Any play on the bearing, or I take it it's cam belt, so was the cam belt too tight? That's weird why it would snap off. GWP58. Good morning, Andy from Derbyshire. Well, good morning, GWP58. Thanks for joining in and for commenting as well. So like I say, some people don't like to comment. They tend to stay in the background, but I don't mind. Say what you like. Happy to give you a reply. Simon Raw. What, you still had a 10mm left? Yeah, only just. But I had lots after Ben came out. He found some sockets and quite a few spanners and even a screwdriver that had fallen down there. So that was pretty cool. Kill Switch BB. My wife always reminds me about all the bad things I do. Well, yeah, they seem to stay in their memory a lot longer, and they use them as ammunition against you so many times. You know, it's like, we've been over this 9 times already. You don't need to bring it up again. I get into so much trouble. I really do. Honestly, it's a incredible why Mrs. Mechanic is still around. I really don't know why. It's not logical in any way, shape or form. We've still got a fair few. We're doing all right. Mike Adams, how many times have you done a clean out and find multiples of certain tools that you couldn't find when you need them and just bought replacements because of no time to find the first one? Yeah, I know where you're coming from. My biggest problem is it's not so much that I can't find the tools that I have in the workshop, but sometimes I'm out on the road and for some weird reason I've decided not to take my field toolkit with me, or I've flown to wherever I'm going and got a hire car, so I can't take my tools with me, and I need to fix something. And as you know, a mechanic's only as good as the tools that you have. And if he doesn't have any tools at all, then you may as well not be a mechanic. So often I have to go and buy something to do the job. So I do end up with multiples of tools back at home, because obviously I bring them back with me. Much to the annoyance of the airline company when I try and weigh in my gear. I remember being in Queenstown and I've been working on an ROV down there, and I bought a load of stuff. And when I checked in, you can have 2 suitcases of even going to the overweight weight limit of 32 kgs each. One was 39 kilograms and one was 34 or something, and they wouldn't accept either of them. So I had to take a load of stuff out, mainly clothes and like toiletries, and I think I had a couple of cylinder heads in my backpack as well. So I took my laptop out and everything, and I had numerous rucksacks and all sorts of gear walking onto the plane, clearly carrying way too much. But that's the only way I could get everything back without spending a fortune. And it was expensive enough just paying the overweight bags. But yeah, honestly, sometimes it gets real hard. That's one of the reasons why I just prefer to drive everywhere, because I'm just chuck it in the car. Now then. Matt Salmon, lots of adjustment left. That's good news. It's actually oh my God, a Zongshen NC250 fitted in my model. 4-valve tappets. Don't think it's ever been looked after, as foam air filter has disintegrated. Just trying to make it good. Oh, you sounds to me like you're doing an excellent job, and well done for spotting the problem. Talking of air filters, I remember a car came in for a service down in Devonport when I was working at Firestone, and the warrant of fitness on the car had run out 10 years earlier, and as had the Regio, or the road tax if you're English. And I was like, well, what's going on with this car? This woman wants it servicing, but it's got no warrant of fitness and it's got no Regio. So I rang her up and said, do you want us to put it through a warrant while it's here? Because it hasn't got one, it hasn't had one for a long time. And she's like, oh no, don't worry about it. I only drive it locally, and I've driven it for 10 years without Regio warrant and never been stopped. And I'm like, you're kidding. So anyway, I did the service, and what obviously part of the service was to check the air filter. And as I pulled the air filter out, the whole inner part of it just fell out. I didn't even touch it with the airline. I just pulled it out, and just the sheer movement of dislodging it from the air filter housing, it was like brittle. You know, it turned to, well, brittle stuff, and it had all just fallen out. I rang her up and said, are you going to need a new air filter? And she's like, why? Why should I pay for a new air filter? It hasn't had one for 10 years. It hasn't needed one for 10 years. Why do I need one now? And I'm like, oh God, honestly, the logic. So I sent her a picture of her air filter, and I said, well, it's not an air filter anymore. You're just going to be getting normal air. Would you like an air filter? And she grumbled so much about buying a new air filter. It was incredible. Off-road fan. Do you have visitors in your shop? Sounds like they were popping the third. Oh, hang on. It might be my phone. When I get a text notification on my phone, it gives a beer bottle sound, you know, opening the cap. So it might have been that. But no, there's nobody here. I'm all on my own. Look, I'll show you. I'll prove to you that there's nobody here. Look, Andy's on his lonesome today. No Tool Girl Holly. Man, she should still be in bed now, wouldn't she, if she was down here? UK Weekend Workshop. Sounded like bottle top's been taken off. Honestly, I get so engaged with the live stream that I ignore everything else. What's been coming in? Hang on. I don't want to lose that. I've got a comment to read out. I want to get you guys' opinions on this. But see what else came in. Roger Heaps. Yes, that's cool, Roger. Thank you for that. Okay, right. I'm going to read out a comment. It's been barred from the channel, obviously. I'm going to read out a comment, and when comments get posted on the channel, I get an email notification. So even if I delete the comment off the channel, I've still got it saved as an email. So, you know, caught this guy out a little bit. So this came in from a guy called, I can show this, Osprey Bravo 18. Now, he no longer can appear on the channel because I've barred him for life. And he goes, and I quote, "The girls are a gimmick, man. I have watched channels for years that have higher subs, counts and viewership, and they feature a single guy giving out quality information. The moment you shuffle in a girl to draw in the desperate, start using clickbait, obviously doesn't know the definition of clickbait, and encourage them to show as much cleavage as you can, in the moment you start losing respect and gaining empty views. Would people still watch you if the girls weren't there? Would people keep coming back for each video if you didn't bait people with the thumbnails? Fake it till you make it, I guess. Hopefully, these girls are friends. I'm more than happy to help you out with your videos. So I quite liked the last sentence. It sort of gave it a bit more of an upbeat, but he was definitely slating me for having tool girls on the channel. Now, I don't know about you, but not all the videos have tool girls. The ones with the tool girls are, I think, fun. And there weren't any tool girls on the channel for the first couple of years. And there were lots and lots of videos made during that time on technical repairs and diagnostics. And those videos do continue, although I don't have as much time now, given the fact that I look after all the motorcycle shops of a particular brand here in New Zealand, and was chosen to do that role based partly on my technical abilities. So maybe that gentleman, what was his name? Osprey Bravo 18, maybe he has only watched videos with tool girls in. Maybe we should ask him why he's done that. Anyway, it doesn't bother me because at the end of the day, this is my channel and I can do what I like as long as it stays within YouTube rules. And clearly the tool girl videos do fall just within the YouTube rules. And I'm sure that YouTube will let me know should I decide to do anything adverse and cause problems. Although, to be fair, I have sort of reeled in the appearance of the girls, especially Tool Girl Holly, in more recent videos. They don't really show hardly any skin. I don't think that's really the problem. I mean, we've been over this a few times. I'm not going to bore you to death, but I do what I do, and I will continue to do what I do. And if Osprey Bravo 18 doesn't like what I do, then he doesn't have to watch the videos, does he? There's plenty of other channels that he can go and watch, like he says, that he finds a lot more interesting and entertaining. So, that's just fine. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I really aren't. Right. Oh, hang on. I've got to scroll back up. Hang on a minute. Oh, here we go. John Dyer. It's a Vauxhall, says it all. Okay, copy that. Off-road fan. Maybe it's a ring sound as his mobile phone. It is a notification sound, and that's what it'll be. Because I didn't turn the volume off. I thought it'd be, I'll leave it on. Because some people do message me on Messenger during the live stream, don't they, Roger? Bob Kinney, Mrs. Mechanic. Remember the time you sent Ben under the shed to fetch tools? Actually, I don't think she knows about it. But now if she watches the live stream, she probably will. And she does sometimes lie in bed watching the live stream, just to make sure I don't say things I shouldn't say. Oh, shit, hang on. I forgot to do something. Hang on a minute. Now, oh yes, perfect positioning. Sorry, YouTube. Honestly, I am terrible. I forget. There's always something I forget to do. Now then, UK Weekend Workshop. Since when have wives or significant others been logical? Agreed. They'll manipulate the situation. Alan Cook. I heard something in the background. I didn't hear it, honestly. I'll have to play back the live stream later on, and I guarantee every single time it's going to be my phone making a noise. Oh my word. Lepsido Alicon. Hi Andy, do you plan any more off-road trips in the South Island? I do. I absolutely do. And it's going to be on a farm bike. It's going to be on one of my Suzuki DR200s at some point. I was very, very upset, actually. The weekend, well, on the way down to the South Island about 3.5 years ago with my trail bike, I won't mention the brand, I was going down for a 5-day trail ride in the South Island to do rainbows and and the Molesworth track and loads of other stuff with some friends, with a group of riders. And I was driving a ute down with a lot of the bikes, well, in fact, all the bikes on the ute. It's pretty loaded up, to be fair. And over that weekend, on the way down, I got a phone call to say that I'd been successful in obtaining this role with this particular manufacturer as the service rep for New Zealand. And I was absolutely over the moon. It was the job I've been wanting for 7 years, really. And, I put all the effort I could into securing it, and I pulled it off. And the whole weekend, the 5 days, was filmed on GoPro and pieces to camera, and I did a lot of work to film the whole thing. And I edited up probably the first 4 or 5 episodes that they're still on the channel, and I thoroughly enjoyed the videos. I edited it quite differently to my workshop videos, and there's probably enough footage left for 2 more episodes. But the problem was, once I started employment with my current employer, none of my videos were allowed to depict that particular brand anymore. And as a result, the 2 episodes, which I haven't edited up yet, they're still in the can, so to speak, have never shown on the channel. And the last half an hour of footage is incredible. The last river crossing of the day is extremely deep, and it's a very large river. And it took us quite some effort to get the bikes across, believe me. And I really wanted to get that out there, and get it on the channel. And I know it doesn't get very many views, but it was part of the series, and it hasn't happened. And I haven't forgotten about it. I'd like to get permission just to get those 2 videos finished and put them up. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll ask for an exemption against the clause just to get them done, because they are old and there's no technical repairs going on. It's just a guy riding his bike, having fun. With his mates, basically, which is what it's all about when you're trying to promote a brand. But I don't know. I'll have a chat with them and see what they say. So I will be going back down to the South Island at some point. I'm going to take a couple of weeks off work, and probably one of those weeks will be a ride down to the South Island, probably to Invercargill. I'll go to Rogers Motorcycles as a destination point. A good friend of mine, Stu, down there. We'll have a few beers that night. And I'll film the whole thing, obviously, and it'll end up on the channel at some point. We're probably talking a fair few months ahead now. It'll be next year when this happens. And then what I'll do is I'll leave the bike with them, and then I'll jump in a hire car and, go and visit all the dealers in the South Island, get back to Nelson and fly back home. And Mrs. Mechanic can come and pick me up from the airport in Taupo. And then, next time I go down in the ute, I'll pick up the bike, bring it back. That'll work, won't it? Should be fun. Now then. Or I'll ride it back. That could be an idea, couldn't it? I could do the whole thing in reverse and have another trip riding back. That would work. Now then. Right. Simon Roll. Going to the shed to get some beer now. I've only got coffee, Simon. Kill Switch, BB. Simon Roll. Be a pal, get me one too. UK Weekend Workshop, that must be what we've been hearing. Matt Salmon. Haters, mate, you are very clever and at what you do. The extra talent just adds to the channel. I think so. It's just an addition. If you don't like it or you're not in favour of it, you don't have to watch it. And to be fair, there's very, very few complaints that come through on those videos. I think the most recent one that I put out, which turned out to be quite a funny video to make, actually. I'm not sure if all of you watched it or not, but I get many, many inquiries and comments, and some of them adverse comments about the Tool Girl attire, and that it's not safe for in the workshop, and they should be wearing proper steel toe cap boots and other bits and pieces. And I try to explain every time that you know, it's the way it is. You know, you go and watch a movie and the guy jumping out of the airplane without a parachute on the movie, he's not actually jumping out of the airplane without a parachute. You know, all the stunts that are done are all very controlled. They're not, you know, there might be I don't know, there could be a lass on Gotham Garage grinding and not wearing any safety glasses. You know, it happens. Sometimes things are done for the cinematic reasons as opposed to pure health and safety, and that's what it's about. So anyway, we made that video, and I think there's been about 3,000 views on it now, which, you know, obviously the Tool Girl videos are very popular, and only 5 thumbs down, which is great. You know, it means that 5 people accidentally clicked on that thumbnail and watched a video that they didn't enjoy, which they continue to watch. I don't know, but I had a lot of fun, and so did Holly, making that video. We had lots of outtakes, and a lot of those outtakes couldn't actually be shown in the outtakes because they were a bit too, well, YouTube wouldn't have liked them. Put it that way. They'll stay on my hard drive forever, though. Now then, Simon, Killswitch BB, cider good for you? I'll have one, Simon. Cheers, mate. Killswitch, hell yeah. UK Weekend Workshop. At the end of the day, it's your choice how you want to run your channel. Exactly. And I think one of the important things is that a channel has to have a point of difference. There are lots and lots of really, really good automotive channels on YouTube. Very different to mine, very detailed, you know, a massive wealth of knowledge in a particular subject. You know, you've got Eric O, we've got Keith, we've got Ivan, we've got Eric the Car Guy. You know, you've got to give him his dues. He was one of the first, was Eric the Car Guy, to start a YouTube channel. Extremely successful. A lot of my students enjoyed watching his videos. And, you know, he'll always be sort of the godfather, I suppose, to me anyway, of the automotive channels on YouTube. We all, when I started out, you know, it was Eric the Car Guy, that style of video that I tried to, I suppose, mimic, or at least it gave me motivation to do what I do. And then I got in, you know, then it is the phone. It's not beers, it's the phone. Lots of stuff coming through. Yes, texts and all sorts. You know, and then I got to start watching Eric O and Ivan and all the rest. And you know, it's a great little team. We all get on really well together. And Cody as well, by the way. Now, where were we? Jeez, I'm sort of losing the plot here. Richard Action. Carry on, Andy. It's your channel. Thank you. GWP58 Tool Girl PPA video was very informative. That was the plan. You know, a bit of tongue in cheek. But like I said, we had a lot of fun making it. And if I ever get any adverse comments in the future, I can just divert them to that video, can't I? Jim K, the pull strap on her pants and what you said about the Indian food. Yeah, well, I had to give a reason why there was a wraparound zip. So I used, you know, going to the bathroom as I don't need to explain it. You know what I'm talking about. Nobby Noble, run out of plasters, have we? What? What are you on about? Plasters. Run out of plasters. Am I bleeding? I don't think so. You got me worried now. Hang on a minute. Where are we? Osman 471. Morning, Andy. Bit late to the party. I don't know. What time is it? We've been going 50 minutes. Run out of plasters, have we? You've got me thinking now, Nobby Noble. I don't get that. Mike Adams. I was asked to change the oil on an 81 Chrysler. A woman had inherited from her father, so she got it for free. He'd never changed the oil, just the filter. What? I had to use channel locks to get the dipstick out. It was so clogged. Holy shit. Killswitch BB, don't take this the wrong way. I wouldn't dream of it. The girls are a gimmick to the channel. Oh, golly. But they don't make the channel. You get them involved in the projects, which benefits everybody. I do. And again, one of the main reasons why I decided to have tool girls or assistants on the videos especially assistants that have never worked the tools before. They're not mechanics, let's face it, you know, they're just regular girls that do girl stuff. And I'm not saying that some girls aren't mechanics, but most of them, they have an interest in getting involved, definitely, but something that has not been shown before. So they ask basic questions. We're doing a job, and it's easy for me to overlook that particular kind of question, you know, and go into it a bit more detailed and not cover the basics. But having an assistant there asking the basic questions reminds me, and it then includes it in the video. And it reminds me a lot of when I was teaching students. There were similar kind of questions that they would ask. And that's what sort of gave me the idea. It was, well, one of the reasons why I'd have the tool girls. And I think it works really well. I mean, Holly's a bit different. Holly is really good on the tools, and you can see that from the videos. She sort of just gets on with the job and doesn't need me to prompt her all the way through. You know, although I do say some stuff to try and aid the video, I could just walk away and leave her to it and she'd get on with it, you know. And I think one day, and we didn't do it, I think we were planning to do it, we didn't do it. I think one day I'll actually get Holly to do a video on her own and see how she gets on. But I don't quite think she's at that stage just yet with the confidence factor. It's really, you know, whenever I've put a tool girl in front of the camera and I've let them do their own thing, and I've gone off, or I've gone on with another job, they really, I've found in the past at least, they really struggle to present. I mean, Hannah was different. Hannah managed really well. She was very sort of extrovert, but the other girls tended to go real quiet and just couldn't really think on their feet as regards what to do next on camera. Sort of forgetting the fact that you can just do a retake, you know, and you can stop the camera, think about your next bit, and then start the camera again, and I can just edit it all together. It's a lot of pressure, it really is. So I do prefer at the moment to, obviously, for the two of us to work together on projects. Makes it a lot more fun anyway, and there's a lot more interaction going on then. So kill switch, no, I didn't take that the wrong way at all. I totally understand where you're coming from. Bob Kinney, to hell with that guy, Andy. We like your channel and it's fun, and you have the tool girls on. Sorry, and it's fun when you have the tool girls on. So it's not fun normally. Oh, okay. All right. Well, Holly has decided, we've booked, I think it's the last weekend in November. So that gives me about 8 weeks to continue some of the work on her DR200. We got lots done last weekend. I think 9 or 10 videos were in the can, so to speak. She worked very, very hard. And, you know, I was expecting her to sleep in the car all the way back to Auckland that night. But she didn't. She was wide awake, and she was playing DJ on the radio. She was putting different tunes on and singing away. And man, she's got so much energy, that girl. I was knackered. I was so tired that night when I got back to Auckland. Bob Kinney, 2 thumbs up. Look at that. Alan Cook, I'm making tunnel for my drone. You're making a tunnel to fly your drone through? I don't get that. Sorry, Alan. Try again. Might be a auto spell thing going on, spell check thing. Simon Roll, will the hire car have dust caps on? Probably not. But to be fair, given the whole COVID thing, I've not been in a hire car for quite some time, so I don't know what their current procedure is. Although somebody, some little scrote, stole the dust cap off my spare tire off my trailer. Honestly, I did remember to put it back on, but somebody's stolen it. I noticed it the other day because I have it loose in the back of the ute at the moment, under the canopy, because I don't want anybody nicking the spare wheel, because they're actually really expensive. And I noticed the dust cap had gone. Bastards, honestly. Matt Salmon, would you recommend putting a big bore kit on a 4-stroke? Absolutely. They do one for mine from 250 to 300. Go for it, but make sure you do regular oil changes, because the big end and the main bearings are going to be under a little bit more stress, aren't they? But definitely do it. You can't beat more power, but you might need to reject the carb as well, don't forget, or even upgrade the carb. James Watkins, 4/10/2020. Yes, it's the 4th of October 2020. That's how we do the dates in England and New Zealand. I think in America, you do it 10/4/2020. You do it the other way around. And what really annoys me, and New Zealand has adopted this pretty much across all media now, they would go for October, not 4th of October, or they'd say October 4, which is the American way of saying it, and I'm English, and I like to say the 4th of October. You know, same with the clock, you know, it's 2:45, not 2:45. But hey, that's just the way I've been brought up. Steve Seward, James Watkins, time zones, yes, we can't change it. James Watkins, this is October, not April. I know, I've just explained that. John Dyer, bottle top just gone off. It did. It continues to go off. Lots and lots of messages today. Jonathan Wood, hi from the UK. I like all of your content. Well, thank you very much, Jonathan. I appreciate that. Oh my word, lots and lots of comments. Gary P, date formats vary country to country, James. They do. Nobby Noble, for you poster. For you poster. Yes! Yes! I didn't put the red tape on it. I just thought putting a can in the way would prevent me defacing another calendar. Because it was the Worth one, I think, that no, it was that one, actually. It was. But it's a bit risque. It's not, she is actually covering the nipple, but it's sort of see-through. So I'm not too sure how much you could see. Mrs. Mechanic constantly reminds me whenever she comes in the workshop. Anyway, it's a workshop. It's what we have in workshops. It's the way it is. So yes, sorry, Nobby Noble. I now get the joke. Cheers, mate. Matt Salmon, are they woodbines, pal? No, they're not. They are. Where's it gone? Pall Mall. Look at that for a picture. That's so enticing to smoke, isn't it? Pall Malls. Pall Malls today. I've got still loads to get through. We keep talking. Simon Roll, you have 8 weeks to send Holly a Christmas card. Yes, you do. You can send Holly a Christmas card if you want to. That's fine. Just send it through to my PO box. The address is in the description. Address it Tool Girl Holly, and I'll make sure she gets it, and I'll also make damn sure she reads it out. Now, that November filming might be the last filming before Christmas, highly likely. So you'll need to make sure that your cards get here before then. So try and get them done in the next few weeks if you can, and in the post, because it'll take a while to get here as well. But definitely send them through, and we'll definitely give you a shout out on. It won't be on a live stream. I'll do it on a video. We'll do a mail call video with Holly, and I also need to do a Christmas video with her as well for the compilation of all the automotive channels again. I'll have to get Keith on board to get that organised, because I enjoy doing those. They're good fun. Pat Toohill, have a good morning, Andy. Combining corn here in central Illinois. I was watching a video on farming and protecting soil around the world, and some of the farming procedures in the States. And man, what is it? What was it? 40% of the topsoil in the world has gone now, or something, due to tilling operations. I don't know. Didn't look good. Alan Cook, yeah. Drew Dastardly, Matt Salmon, Woodbines, lol. Capstan full strength, I imagine. No, they're not. No, they're not. These are what do they call them? Menthols. I've always spelt menthols. Don't know why. Unless they don't have any, and then I get normal ones. I usually get reds, normally reds or blues. Whatever they give me, really. Nuts Barsden. Hey, Andy. I used Harleys available in your country. Are we talking the Tool Girl? Are we talking the bike? I think we're talking the bike. We'd love to see the Tool Girls wrench on some American iron, maybe a cheap used sporty. That's a good idea. I'm not a huge fan of the Harley Davidson stuff, but I know a lot of viewers are, and yeah, maybe a Harley one day will come into the workshop, and we'll be able to do some work on it. It's a good idea. Asher D, I want to thank you for the refurbishment of the disc cutting. Claim it uploaded but refurbished. Hey. I want to thank you for the refurbishment of the disc cutting. Claim it uploaded but refurbished. It helped me a lot. Okay. It doesn't ring any bells. Asher, can you elaborate a bit more on that one? Bob Kinney, 4th of October, thank you, Bob, is more military. Yeah, oh, okay, I can go with that. Drew Dastardly, it's crazy the amount of jihadists around the world that celebrate. I'm not going to comment on that. Andy Mechanic, tell me about EGR Camry 1999. Well, it has one. There you go. Pat Toohill. Lol, if that was true, we'd be farming gravel. They are good at not telling the truth. Thanks, Pat. Thanks for clearing that up. I mean, it was a very compelling, well, it was a movie, documentary, really. But yeah, there's always two sides to a story, so I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, have I made up an opinion on it? Well, not really. It was just enlightening, I suppose. You know, but there is some good coming from it as well. GWP58, menthol ciggy is now banned in the UK. What? Why? Why have they banned them? Tell me. Simon Roll, the UK government have put a higher tax on menthols. Oh, we go. And it's an excuse to put up tax. Why? Are they worse for you? I thought they were better for you. I mean, I know they're a cigarette and they're bad for you full stop, but not quite as bad. Anyway. Alan Cook, starting making it tomorrow. Cool. Bob Kinney, well, haven't mentioned my bike rebuild in a while. 2009 Kawasaki Vulcan 1700, bored over large pistons, new cams, transmission rebuild with cutback gears. Cool. New coils and more goodies. Excellent segue. Right, we'll get rid of that because it's annoying for some people. Sorry. Some parts arrived. Where should we start? Let's start here. Okay, let's start here. So, my friends up at Kaitaya Motorcycles, Bonnie in particular, very, very helpful when it comes to parts. She has sent me down what I've been waiting for quite some time, which is what's another reason why there's been a stall on the CB750 work. A couple of new condensers. Now, I did order condensers with the ignition points from Derby's, but I'm pretty sure I did anyway, but they never actually turned up. They couldn't supply. Jeez. I could have got them off eBay or whatever, but I like to buy local. Golly. So Bonnie sorted me out. Now, genuines I wanted to get genuines, but they were crazy expensive. And Alan, who owns the bike, is not paying for this part of the refurbishment. I'm doing it because I want to, first of all, fit new points and new condensers to the bike. With the old coils, just with new plug caps, and basically measure spark strength and also timing accuracy with the points through the rev range. And then I'm going to take all that off and I'm going to install new coils and an electronic ignition system and run the same tests on the picoscope to see how much better the ignition timing is, or how much more accurate the ignition timing is through the rev range. So we've got a real direct comparison. Quite a complex video, still planning it, but it will definitely happen. I wanted to do stuff on points ignition for quite some time. Another video on points will be highlighting the disadvantages of points ignition, which pretty much is the fact that your spark gets weaker as the engine revs get higher because your dwell time is reduced, and eventually the engine can't rev any higher. You don't get the same kind of revving maximum RPM on a motorcycle engine as you would do with electronic ignition. Anyway, there you go. I ramble on. There's your condenser. So they've turned up. I've got those. Thank you very much, Bonnie, if you're watching the video. She's a big fan of Andy Mechanic. I know she is. She'll be laughing her head off now. Right, so we've got that. But more importantly, what did turn up? Where should we start? We'll start here. Okay. Are these. Now, don't be too put off by the price. They're not cheap. These are the coils. And these are from Dynatech. And if I can get into the box, here we go. So there you go, look. Comes with instructions on how to fit them, so I should be good. And I've not actually taken them out of the box yet, so this is the first time. So bear with me. Sorry. Can't quite do this to camera. It's a bit fiddly. I don't want to drop them, obviously. That would be bad. Jeez. There we go. I've already spotted something that I'm missing. I'm going to need to order. Wasn't sure if it was going to be in the pack or not. Yeah, there we go, look. Okay, so this is one of the dyno coils, and it's green, and it's obviously got the two outputs because it's a wasted spark system, and we've got the inputs here, look. So quite nice, neat little brass terminals and stuff, but it hasn't been supplied with the HT leads, so I'm going to have to order the HT leads next, so there'll be another delay. God damn, didn't realise that the HT leads weren't included. So we've got obviously two of those. There's another one in the box, and it comes with some nice little fittings and stuff as well, very posh, but not cheap at all. But in addition to the coils, we've got in this box, we've got the electronic ignition. Now this took a lot longer to arrive. Obviously the coils are more generic and can be used on a number of different models. This is more specific to this particular model, although again I believe it does fit. What's it listed as? It also fits the 4-cylinder 500s and the 550s as well, by the looks of it. It's not actually on the box for a 750, but I think it will be. And it comes with all the instructions, which is nice. And they're not sponsors. I've paid full whack for these. Actually, Alan paid full whack for these. And try not to drop the stuff again. We've got a little pickup that goes on the end of the crank, which would replace the little cam that the points run on, and a bit of wiring and stuff in there, look. And then this is the important bit. This is the actual pickup plate. So you take off the plate that's got the points and the condensers mounted on it, and you fit this. And of course it is adjustable, so you can set the timing on it, the ignition timing. So I'm really looking forward to getting this fitted. I did speak to the lads via email over in America that produced this kit, and they're fully aware this is going to go onto a YouTube video, so they've offered their full technical support to make sure I do it right. Because I've not fitted one of these before. I've never converted anything from points ignition to electronic ignition, so this is a first for me. I've worked on plenty of bikes obviously with electronic ignition, but not done the conversion, so very much looking forward to it. There's one of the mechanics, Mike, down at MCR down in Dunedin, a really good friend of mine. I very much look forward to catching up with him whenever I go down. Fantastically good mechanic. He looks after some old vintage race bikes down there for the dealership, actually. They actually race a few of their own bikes. Rick and his wife down there, they're very active in the vintage motorcycle racing in the South Island. So he'll be able to give you some pointers as well. It looks pretty simple, to be honest, but we have reached a bit of a hiccup because, like I said before, there's no HT leads, so I need to look into that and get those sorted out tomorrow when I can get back on my emails. Now then, hang on a second. Let's just go back a little bit. Oh, golly. Jeez. Here we go. Right, Simon. GWP58. The tax must have been the first bit of the ban. Wow. Jim K. How much smokes in New Zealand? Well, 20, and these are slightly longer than normal. They're called extras. These are $32.50 in New Zealand at the moment, and they're only going to get more expensive, obviously. I tend to probably smoke 2 packets a week, I would say. Some days I only have 1 or 2, other days I might have 4 or 5. Yeah, that's just the way it is. I will obviously give up one day. Maybe the day they bury me, I don't know, but we'll find out. Osman471 had a Toyota Tercel in my workshop years ago. Had to use a blowtorch on the sump to get the engine oil to dribble out. Holy crap. Poor engine. Jim K. 7 to $9 US here in Michigan. Wow, that's a lot. That's a hell of a lot cheaper. Mike Adams. Pall Malls are my cigarette brand of choice too. Old enough to know better, but unfortunately too stupid to quit. Yeah, join the club. I only started smoking at 37 years old, by the way. I don't think I would ever have contemplated smoking in the UK, but here in New Zealand, a lot more of my friends smoke, and I suppose that probably drew me into it. I'm pretty confident it did, actually. It was probably, I wouldn't say it was peer pressure, but it was just the environment that I was in at the time. Drew Dastley, I remember only young girls smoked menthols. They are a gateway to Capstan full strength. UK government knows this. Okay, so they'll start off with a menthol thinking it's not really that bad. Okay, that's good to know. Brocknex, good afternoon, brother. Cheers from the middle of nowhere, Alaska. We've got Alaska on board. Welcome back. Good to have you on board. Matt Salmon, Camry 1999, EGR delete, remap and fit blanking plates. Job done. Excellent. EGRs, they only help the polar bears, don't they? They certainly don't help with the fuel economy or anything like that. Duke of the Dales. Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Duke of the Dales. Good to have you on board, sir. Cheers. Asher D, big love heart. Cheers, Asher. Nobby Noble. Apparently, the under fives smoke flavoured cigarettes. It's thought the removal of menthol cigarettes from the shops, hang on, I've got a blue blob in the way, from the shop shelves could be the trigger which stops more children starting smoking. Well, that can only be a good thing, I suppose. The next generation shouldn't smoke. It's not good for them. And to be fair, it probably costs us taxpayers a fortune trying to keep them alive as they get older. As with me, probably. Far more likely to get ill, I suppose, if you smoke. That's just my thoughts. I've got no evidence to back that up, but you know, everything you see sort of brainwashes you into thinking that you're going to die. Jim K, did you see the little handheld scope Erico used in a recent video? I have seen one, like a little orange oblongy thing. Very, very cool. Really handy just to, you know, rather than carting your big scope around. Do like it. Very keen on actually maybe getting one of those, see what they're like. Had actually forgotten about it. It was probably about a year ago when I saw him use it first. You know, he gave it a really good review and, you know, a good way into having a scope, to be fair. I think the refresh rate was good enough to diagnose most things. Bob Kinney, that will be an awesome video, Andy. Yeah, I think it will be a really cool video comparing the points ignition system to the electronic ignition system. I do hear a rumor, and Simon, you might be able to confirm this, but with the dyno system, the electronic pickup, if battery voltage, say for example your charging system fails and your battery voltage starts to drop, I'm told that it goes to full advance. Is that right? Again, I'm not that, you know, I'm really just getting the hang of knowing this system, but I'm sure I read that somewhere. Are you familiar with these systems? Do you know that that's the case? Be good to know. At least I can warn Alan then to keep an eye on his charging system. Now then, Drew Dastley, aren't all the young ones into vaping nowadays? Yeah, I think they are. They're gonna ban. They've already decided they're gonna ban all the different flavors of the vaping stuff from the regular outlets, and you'll have to go to like a specialist outlet to buy them now, I think. Although you can still buy them online, no doubt. I don't vape, I never have. Simon Rawl, down there, good quality coils. Excellent, that's what I wanted. I wanted to give Alan the best possible chance of starting on all 4 cylinders, even though cylinder number 2 is a little bit down on compression. Bring it up to the 21st century, basically, that's the plan. Steve Seward, have you looked at a capacitor to replace the condensers? No, I haven't. YJN worker, our Superman. Surprise. You're making me hungry, mate. Andrew Hodgkinson, £15 for 19 ciggies. Why not 20 in the UK now, the cheapest ones? I bet the price has gone up a bit since you left the UK. Well, I never bought cigarettes in England, so I don't know what they cost. £22 plus for some packets of 20. A 50 gram of Golden Virginia is down 26. Saying that, I did used to buy my brother quite often the Golden Virginia tobacco packs because he used to smoke rollies. But again, at the time, I didn't really think of the price. If he wanted some, I just bought him some. You know, it was just, I suppose, a perk of having Andy as a brother. Zane Maxwell, it's over $100 New Zealand dollars for 50 grams of tobacco in New Zealand. What? That's crazy. Zane Maxwell, $60 for the cheapest 30 grams. Man, it's getting very expensive is smoking in New Zealand, isn't it? Drew Dastardly, Andrew Hodgkinson, my mind is blown. I gave up 20 years ago. I remember £5 a pack for 20 was steep compared to Austria, where you could get 20 for €1. Wow, that's crazy cheap. Nut Barsden, are the coils 1.5 ohm or 3? They are 3 ohm. There you go, look, 3 ohm coils. Which is, I'm told, the spec for that bike. I have a 1965 panhead and junked my points ignition from Mallory Electronic distributor and Dynatech coil. Best thing I ever did. Well, that's great news. I'm very much looking forward to getting those put on. I really am. And maybe this coming week I might be able to spare an afternoon and get it done. Bob Kinney, 3 thumbs up. Look at that. 1, 2, 3 thumbs up on getting that electronic edition kit. Windy, you guys do this deliberately, don't you? Otrowski, I've got it wrong, I know. Restored older bikes using that kit. He was that one off. Sorry, he was one of the first guys to work on Japanese racing bikes. Wow. Andrew Hodgkinson, I've grown my own tobacco plants in the polytunnel this year. Maybe you shouldn't be saying that, although the taxman might come round. Nut Barsden, who is laying a nasty bead of weld in the background? Lol. No, it's not. It's not. It's a dying fly. I have one of those electric fly zapper things up in the corner. I think finally one of the flies has decided to go and look at the light and now died. It's quite good because when you get a really big fly going there, they actually catch fire on the gauze. It's most entertaining. You just got to remember that whenever you're working on something, got any kind of flammable liquids out, whether you've got a petrol tank that you're draining or a carburetor in bits, I have to turn that off because obviously it's a pretty serious source of ignition. Hang on, the message is held for review. What have we got? Grow your own tobacco, boys. I think we can show that. That's not too detrimental. It's a personal opinion. Oh my word, where did it all go now? There we go. Bob Kinney, old motorcycle article called The Orient Express, cool motorcycle history back in the 70s. I'll try and check that out. Weekend Workshop. Converting points to electronic isn't bad to do on an A-series Morris Minor, so probably similar on a bike. I did do it on the little Suzuki Jeeps. The SJ413s and Samurais have electronic distributors, and everything's housed in the distributor. And the SJ410s, the earlier sort of 1 litres, they had points ignition. And I found out, just by playing around, that I could fit the distributor complete from the 1300cc engine into the SJ410 and just swap the coil across as well. Wired up exactly the same. And the 410s, they used to start so much better with the electronic ignition. They used to rev better, and they were less prone to misfire during water pools and stuff. I think because the spark voltage was a lot higher, but at the time I never tested it. I just fitted it and found it was better. So I did that conversion to all my 410s that we had on the fleet at the time, and it made starting in the winter time a lot better. It was just great. A big improvement. Connor K, Melrose, €5, 10-pack in Portugal. I should quit, but if quitting was easy, everyone would do it. It's bad for me because Mrs. Mechanic smokes as well, and she tends to light up a little bit more often than I do. But then she'll sit down and have a coffee and a smoke, and there's no better excuse than stopping work and sitting down and having a coffee with her and having another smoke. So I do tend to smoke more when I'm at home. Cowboy USA. Well, life's not safe, and foolishly trying to make life safe makes life not worth living. I couldn't have said that any better. I ride motorcycles. They're dangerous enough. Everything else pales into insignificance, to be honest. Simon Roll. That I don't know, but if you put a trigger on the pickup when you did the vid, you'll be able to drop the battery voltage and test it. You're a genius. I should do that. I should do that. I will do that. That's a great idea. If I forget to do it, Simon, you can ridicule me later on and I'll do another video on it. I might just do it. Actually, I might do a separate video just on that particular aspect. But I'll do a bit more research to find out if more people are saying the same thing. James Daly. Thankfully, the black market tobacco in New Zealand is taking off. Easy to grow up north. Shh. Will tobacco be the new marijuana? Haha. Who knows? Jim K. Any 2021 machines showing up yet? Can't comment on that, Jim. Cowboy USA. Forever two wheels. Or always two wheels. I'll never stop riding, that's for sure. I really enjoy being out on the bike, and I haven't been out on the bike for ages. What else have we got? I think we've opened everything now. I think we have. We've got those to repackage, put them somewhere nice and safe. But so what's the plan for today? Well, I was going to show you, wasn't I? I haven't run out of things to show you. I've got more stuff to show you. I'm just going to unplug you, and I'm going to turn you round. So 3, 2, 1. There we go. The workshop. Right, let's go for a little wander. Oh. Okay, so this is what we did yesterday. I've got 80 more front number plate brackets to make, and each bracket uses 2 of these. This is bright steel, and it's, how long is it? 206 millimeters long, 10 mil OD, obviously. And these have all been cut. The ones above the shirt have been cleaned up at the ends as well. They're all going to get cleaned up. Mrs. Mechanic's going to do that this afternoon. Once the live stream's finished, she's got those to do. And there's 80 of these. This is, what the hell is this stuff? 5 mil thick. These are 360 mil long. I think they're 25 mil wide. And they need 2 holes put in accurately for the number plate to mount onto. And of course, there's 80 of those. And in here, these are the ones, the other end of the bracket that bolts to the bike. Same section material, and these are, I think, 240 mil long. And again, these need 2 holes very accurately drilling. So I need to make up a little jig that's going to allow me in the pillar drill to slot one of these in like a template and drill the 2 holes. And the same jig will work for that one as well. It'll just have a hole in a different place. So that's, I've got to make up the jig next. This is, here we are, look. Way, come back. This is the jig that I made for welding up the brackets. So the long plates, you can see my welding splatter that needs cleaning up. The long plate drops here vertically, and then the 2 little pins go through. I haven't got one to show you, sorry. The 2 little pins go through there. They lock that plate in position, and I put maul grips at either end just to hold it still. If I get a couple of these, hang on. So I can just take, in fact, I can just take the pins out. Hang on. Imagine the pins are in place. I'm taking them out, obviously. So that would drop into there. You align that with the pins. Drop in 2 of those, and then you get one of these. Now this obviously will have holes in it as well, and those holes will align with those 2 pins, and then I can clamp that into place with some maul grips, and then spot weld the whole thing together, take it out of the jig, and then weld it up. Easy as that. So it's making a jig. Okay, making the jig took probably a couple of hours to work it all out. I had a template. The template's over here. Is it over here? Oh, there it is. Yes. So this is the prototype, and this is what the jig was made from. Now we did vary it a little bit. I made a slight change that wasn't required, so that drops in. Terrible camera work, Andy. That drops in there like that. It's quite a tight fit. You tap it into place. I got rid of these little bends here. There was no need for that, but that allowed me to make the jig and then off I went. Easy as that, really. It's pretty cool. What else? Oh, Tool Girl Holly's rear wheel. I don't know, what else? There's not much else going on, really. Holly's bike's still on the hoist. Swing arm, hang on. Don't move fast, Andy, don't move fast. Swing arm bearings are done. That's just on there. I've still got the suspension linkage bearings to do. They are, I think, in rags, this drawer here. And the concentric bearing here, look, it all fell apart. Look at that, got all the little rollers and stuff that fell out. Look at the condition of those. Rusty as rusty can be. I'm not going to pull it apart because I'm going to pull it apart in the video. It sort of fell apart. There's still some rollers still in there. But yeah, that'll be another video. Obviously, Holly won't be in that one. I've got to crack on myself now. What else? Quick pan of the workshop, because I know you guys like the workshop. I love this workshop. I think it's really cool. It's come out fantastically well. Very, very happy with it. Have a little wander over here, look. Toolbox. Oh, it's not too messy. That's all right. What have we got in here, look? Oh, yeah, we've got the multimeter. That is one of the socket sets, or the socket set that's going to be given away in that prize pack when you send through your Andy Mechanic mugshot. Sockets, use those loads. It's always in use, this. It looks real. It doesn't look like it's been used, but these are all quite new. These are all really old. They're like, they've done 4 or 5 years work now, those tools at the top. These are great. Use these all the time now. Really good. And the adapter kit, very useful. Punches. Bottom drawer. If in doubt, give it a clout. Hammer and big pound through screwdrivers, very useful. And this is one of my favorite tools at the moment. I really like this. Really cool. Ratchet power bar. What else have we got? Oh, little 1/4" drive socket set. Brandon gave me that a couple of years ago. Again, use that a lot on the ROVs. What have we got here? Look, brittle. Is that brittle, that one? No, it's a Guido one there, look. Guido. We've got brittle. These are all from England that we used over there. This is from England as well, actually. This is a pretty cool little kit. I think I bought probably 4 or 5 of these to go in the patrol vehicles. This is what I've got left. The ratchet died years ago, but again, really useful. And these are all my spare duplicate sockets. I won't open the box, but there you go. Look, you can see all those. So you've got like screwdriver bits, and you've got sockets in there. Look, all 1/4" drive. Needle files, little tiny torque screwdriver thingy, some little Allen key T-bar, very useful. Use those a lot now. What else? Oh, we got these. These are actually pretty cool, and I bought these. I've started to use these a lot more. They're really good. Ratchet combi spanners, and some little dumpy spanners as well. Look, brand new, hardly used those. Still got the sticker, and of course circuit pliers. What else have we got in here? Look, we've got TK tester, dial indicator. This is bloody useful, this thing. I use this a lot when I'm doing fabrication work, and when I was doing the beams on the workshop, actually. It's a distance finder, and it's bloody accurate, made by Ryobi. And I was using that recently, doing all the woodwork on the carport, and it's accurate, and it saves so much messing around one-handed. Can't do it one-handed. One-handed, Andy. There we go, look at that. Really good, very happy with that. And that's the angle measurer that I used for the beams as well. What else have we got? Oh, some number punches, other stuff, puller, and all the Makita tools in that one there, look, and grinders. And look at that, my new Metabo 1700 watt grinder. That is an animal, an absolute beast. Ben's little Makita mains power grinder is going well, as is the brushless rechargeable. Got a good arsenal of grinders now, very happy with that. Oh, and yes, I know the lathe needs cleaning. It's a bit of a mess, isn't it? Right, back to the bench. Dum dum dum, I'm gonna plug you in. Don't like my phone going flat. Yeah, spontaneous tour of the workshop. How was that? Pretty cool. Hope you enjoyed that. Oh, where do we get? Oh, loads and loads of comments. Right. Mike Adams, I pay about $5 per pack of Power Miles here in Tennessee. Oh, I wish there were only $5 here, I'll tell you that. Jim K, you are able to make those brackets rather quickly. Yes, I have to. I've got 80 to make in this batch, and then there's a slightly different design for a 155cc three-wheel bike, which I need to make another 100 for that. So I needed to come up with a way of manufacture that's slick and quick. And yesterday, we actually had all the steel stock on the trailer before we cut it. And I lined the trailer up with the workshop, put a couple of the trolleys out, and Mrs. Mechanic was helping me, and we just fed each length of steel in, and I made a little tool. Hang on, I'll show you that as well. Just out of a bit of scrap. Oh, don't smash your laptop, Andy. Right, so this bolts onto the bench, and it's got a stop just here, so it bolts in. Hang on, how can I do this? That's better. It bolts into the bench flat, and then the steel, as it comes down. Oh, hang on, I'll take it down again. That's better. Right, it comes down. Basically, this is normally sits on the bench like that. This is the stop, so the steel comes through these guides here. There's a few other guides that clamp into place, and then I've got the various notches for the lengths. So that's for the round bar, that's the notch for the short length of flat, and that's the notch just here, look, for the long length of flat. And the actual cutting I do with the grinder by hand, you know, I just drop it down. Tolerance is about 1 mil, and it allows us to basically feed the length through and just cut, feed it through, cut, feed it through, cut, and I have a bucket on the floor to collect the cuts, basically, the bits that I cut off. And we got it all done in probably about 2 hours, all up, of cutting, and did, wait for it, did all of it with one cutting disc. Bloody incredible. And they're all bang on. Very happy. You know, it just works. But fortunately, the lengths, and they're not absolutely critical. What is critical is the holes. The holes have to be absolutely bang on, especially the position of the holes for on the bike. Otherwise, they won't fit. Rose Ironworks. Morning, Andy. Good to see you again. Mike Adams. Yes, Rose Ironworks. Nice to have you back, sir. Mike Adams. I haven't ridden a motorcycle in over 20 years. The last bike I rode was a 1985 Honda 750. Wow. 20 years. I couldn't last that long not riding a bike. Mike Adams, excuse me, it was a Honda 550. So probably the same engine as in that K2. Just bored down a bit. Cowboy USA, awesome toolboxes. Yeah, I like. There's a lot of drawers going on in here now, and because a lot of the drawers are on trolleys and they move around, I often go to the wrong one. Honestly, it must be an age thing, but I forget where I put stuff sometimes. Drew Dastley, CB750F. I wanted my uncle's, but he sold it for £100 to some scrote. The CB450F is considered a classic. It is. I used to have one of those engines that was going to get put in a go-kart, but never got finished, so I sold the engine on, but I don't know how much I got for it. But yeah, they're like rocking horse nowadays, aren't they? Cowboy USA, every drawer full of necessary and useful tools. It is. And I've also got a lot more tools in the air compressor shed, which are buried at the moment that I can't get to. And now that I've got a few more drawers, next time I'm in there and sorting it all out, I'll get those brought in, and you can have a look at some of my old tools from the UK. Off-road fan, a toolbox tour, cool. A very brief toolbox tour. I think when I get all the drawers filled out properly, with my old tools as well, I'll do a proper video on a toolbox tour because there's so much to go through now. Drew Dastley, those old Honda 4-strokes with 4 exhaust pipes. fantastic machines. They completely revolutionized the motorcycle industry, did those bikes. Cowboy USA, by the time wife number four, and I called it quits, holy moly, I was lucky to be left with a few crappy tools in a cardboard box. Oh man, that's really sad. That is sad. Bob Kinney, shop, setup and tools, oh my. Yep, and every now and again, a tool girl comes to help too. Living the dream, mate, living the dream. Jim K, good to see you got your grinder sorted. Yes, finally, I got the right one. And so pleased that it's not the paddle switch type, because that modification I made for that previous fabrication job for making the slots, it wouldn't really have worked for that. So I chose the right one as far as I'm concerned. It's quite a heavy grinder though. I need to weigh it sometime, but it's pretty heavy. But it's not phased. You mind, it just eats metal away. You put a grinding disc in and you can really clear the material really quickly. Very, very impressed with it. Cowboy USA, big thumbs up. Cheers, mate. Bob Kinney, I learned my lesson after wife number one. Cowboy USA. Well, I'm still on wife number one at the moment. I don't know how that's even been possible, but she's still hanging around. She's a good lass. Nut Barsden, have been back and forth on buying a Metabo grinder. Well, they are good. I must admit, I absolutely, totally recommend that Metabo grinder. It really is good. And the one that I had before that, which I've still got, which I'm going to fix, and there'll be a video on that at some point when I get the parts. That did at least 20 years, and it's great, you know. And it's only the bevel drive that wore out. It's not even the motor. So phenomenal piece of kit. Proper industrial grade grinder. Very happy. Cowboy USA, Bob Kinney, you're a much wiser man than I. Oh, too right, honestly. It's a bit like my brother, I suppose. He doesn't like to have kids. He doesn't have any kids. He inherited a child, but yeah, he just borrows children every now and again to spend the day out with them. If he ever comes to New Zealand, he'll take my kids out for the day or for a week sometimes. Oh, data warning. Go away. You've got loads more data than that. So, I mean, I suppose you could do the same thing with a wife, maybe, now and again. Just borrow one for a time, send her back, rather than actually get, you know, sign the papers. I'm joking, honestly. Oh, don't want that. Go away. Zaps ACCT. On my 78 R100 RS, I switched over to electronic ignition that mounts to the alternator, so I'm able to retain the points. Oh. Which can easily be switched back by swapping one wire on the coil. Well, that's pretty cool. It means if you have a fault, if your electronic ignition goes down in the middle of nowhere touring the world, then you've got a secondary built-in ignition system. That is smart. I like that. Connor K. Nice how all the boxes fit nicely in the toolbox drawers. Sure makes finding what you need a hell of a lot faster. Yeah, well, for a while, Connor, I didn't have a lot of space. I only really had the one roll cab, so you've got to try and use the space best you can and get as much stuff in there as you can. And there's a lot more stuff that I could show you in this video, but I'm going to save it for a toolbox tour video, I think. And maybe we'll do that with Holly. That could be pretty cool. Zaps ACCT, peace of mind stroke EMP proof. Yeah. Electromagnetic pulse proof. Looking forward to your video. You'll have no problem with the switchover and your customer will love it. Yes, I'm doing my very best that I can for Alan. He deserves a top quality job on that bike, and you know, I'm just giving it the time to make sure I don't rush anything. But I also want to capture it on video as well, because I think it's an interesting subject for the wider audience, something which a lot of other people may well consider doing on the old classic bikes. I was a little bit concerned when I said to Alan I want to upgrade it to electronic ignition. You know, it's going to take it away from being an original setup. But he was fine with it. He was like, nope, if it's going to make the bike start better and run better, fit it, do it. So that was good to have his support on that. Sergeant Joe Smith. Hello, Hero Andy. So I'll do it again. Hello, Hero Andy. Joe Smith here. Have you been safe and healthy there in New Zealand? Yes, absolutely. traveling regularly up to Auckland every week now with work. Not that much driving, but a lot of fabrication work going on in the workshop at the moment, together with my day job as well. So, you know, workload is very high at the moment. That's one thing I'm trying to say. Simon Roll just had a look at the bike the bracket is for. You're right, it will spoil the look of the bike if it's the same one we get in the UK. It is. I am planning to apply for an exemption to not have to have a front mounted number plate on that particular model. But the bikes are registered as cars in New Zealand, which means they have to have a car number plate set up, which means front and rear and car size number plates as well. It's just the way it is at the moment. I don't know if the exemption will be passed or not. I'm going to go along the lines of pedestrian safety, you know, having a metal bracket protruding out the front, and a number plate pretty much has sharp edges to it. So, you know, I might be able to twist around, and that would save me a lot of work, and it would also, you know, on future orders, but it would also make the bikes look a lot better, I think. And to be honest, some customers take them off. That's their call if they decide to do that. You know, we're not just talking one particular brand. There are 2 or 3 different brands out there, the similar kind of bike, and I regularly see them on the road without front number plates on them. And I even see them with L plates on as well, which is very naughty. Jim K. I was trying to explain that the manufacturer have a choice to call the 3-wheeler bikes a motorcycle or car to a friend, and he just couldn't understand why there is an option. Every government is different. Yes, essentially I have the choice of whether that bike is registered as a motorcycle or a car. And the idea is that we're trying to get car drivers out of cars and onto 3 wheels in this case, to try and reduce traffic congestion, and also they're going to benefit from you know, free parking and greatly reduced fuel costs. And that's why that particular model has proved very popular here in New Zealand. And I also think they're very popular over in Europe as well, although I don't know whether they're registered as a car in Europe or not. I don't know about that. But they're a lot more stable on the road, and you have a lot more grip at the front end. There's a lot less chance of the bike washing out on a slippy road where the front wheel slides away from you and you go crashing down into the tarmac, which I've only ever done once, and it wasn't a pretty sight, believe me. Cowboy USA, boys, sun's out and snow's coming to Montana. Pulling the bike out of the shed and going for a ride. Good day, you all. Good man. Well, enjoy your ride and be safe, and maybe catch up next Sunday. Jim K, we were also talking about the fact that your DR200s only last a few years and they are scrapped. Hard to believe the roads are so tough on them. Well, it's not so much the roads, Jim. It's the fact that they're used on farm. Basically, they're riding through cow shit and effluent and whatever you want to call it all day long. They really very rarely ever get washed, and they only really get maintained when they stop working. There's very little preventative maintenance. I'm not saying on all farm bikes. Some farmers are really good with them, but others are not. Others just run them into the ground, get a couple of years out of them, and then just go and buy a new one. And the servicing that they put into the bike is absolute bare minimum. You know, you can even get a farmer sometimes take a bike in for a puncture, where it's desperately overdue a service, and they will only have the puncture done. They will not pay for a service, which is diabolical when you think that they've got employees riding the bikes. They have to be safe to ride, and often there's no brakes. You know, there's wheel bearings have collapsed. It's just a joke. It really is. And then they wonder why the bikes fail. Killswitch BB, right, I'm off. Been awesome as always. Later, peeps. Okay, Killswitch, great to have you on board. Thanks for listening to my ramblings this morning. It's probably been a little bit slow. I am quite tired from yesterday, but that's just the nature of the beast at the moment, unfortunately. And maybe catch up next Sunday, same time, 8:30 a.m. New Zealand time. Rose Ironworks, Andy, I was wondering what Holly does as a regular job. Don't answer if you can't. No, she's fine for me to tell you what she does. I'll speak slightly more generically. I won't, you know, identify exactly where she works. But Holly did work on the tools for a couple of years after becoming qualified as a mechanic. She worked on old muscle cars in the main, and she really enjoyed that side of things. She learnt a lot. And then she had a problem with one of her wrists. So she had to it was getting quite painful. She had to give up on the tools, and she moved into the parts supply industry for the automotive world. And she worked at a couple of different places, and now she works for a very large Ford dealership. Really enjoys the job and is learning an awful lot. And she's very good at what she does because she's got that car automotive background as being a mechanic. So she knows what people are talking about when they ask for certain parts. So she's really found her niche there. And, you know, her wrist is fine again now, but she's got no intentions of going back on the tools full time. I think she's come to realize that mechanics don't really earn a great salary, unfortunately, and there's more prospects for her in the industry she's in now, definitely. Now then, Simon, that's wife swooping. Fruit bowl with the car keys in job. Pretty much. Weekend workshop. I'm still on wife number 1. When you have a good one, you know you have a keeper. I'm also a bit jealous of your workshop. I've got to fit my old workshop, 960 square feet, down to a domestic garage. Holy moly, that would be hard. You wouldn't be able to keep everything. And you know, what do you decide to keep and get rid of? Oh, that's a hell of a downsize. I like what I've got. Yes, bigger you always think is better, but it actually works really well. By far the best workshop I've had, and I really like the bench layout. It's not just done for filming, it's actually really good for working as well. It gives you a lot of bench space. And this really big bench in the middle, if that was against the wall, it's too deep. You wouldn't be able to use half of it. You'd end up putting drawers and stuff on it, and I think that would be a waste of such a good bench. Jim K. For what the DR costs here in the US, $4,600 US. I can't believe they don't take better care. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? They're not a cheap bike. I mean, there are some features on the DR which are not really ideally suited to farming, and certainly the maintenance by the farmers. You saw in the drawer earlier on that concentric bearing, the big needle roller bearing in the middle of the rear suspension linkage. They don't need all that complex parts. You know, what for a farm bike, you know, progressive suspension isn't really that important. Why not just bolt the bottom of the shock straight to the swing arm, like they do on some other brands, and do away with all those additional bearings and bushes and so on. It's just not needed in a farm environment. It's just extra complexity and extra running costs that the farmers don't need. And you can guarantee that many of the farmers that buy the DRs are completely unaware of that additional servicing requirement. So it doesn't bother me because I'm not using them as farm bikes, but for farmers, I can see why it's a big problem. Simon, for the 300cc, you will need a bike license in the UK. Right, the 125 can be ridden on L plates and a CBT license. Ah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, because it's well, what about a 155? Because they also make a 155 version which replaced the 125 that we get here anyway in New Zealand. I imagine that a 155 would also need a full motorcycle license in England then. Rose Ironworks, thanks. I thought she knew her ratchets from her wrenches. She does. I can send Holly off to the toolbox store and get some tools, and I can tell her what I need, and she comes back with the right stuff. It's brilliant. I don't have to sort of go over to the toolbox off camera and go, well, you need one of these, and I'm going to ask you for this, I'm going to ask you for this. I don't need to do any of that. She's brilliant. 155 is bike license. Yeah, I thought it would be. Okay, crew. Well, I think really, we're an hour and 49 minutes of my dribble this morning. I think we've come to the end of the live stream. I've covered everything I've got. Coffee's pretty much gone cold. Almost cold. It's done well. Nearly 2 hours. Wait, it is over 2 hours old, that coffee, and it's still drinkable. One more question, one more comment. Jim K, do you think if the DRs were undersealed, they would last longer, or just soap and water? I don't think it's a corrosion problem of the frame. Yes, there's a bit of rust, bit of surface rust and stuff, but it's the fact that the effluent, which is quite corrosive, is getting into the bearing sets, and the fact that the bearings are just not greased. You know, they're just not being maintained. I don't think undersealing the frame would make any difference at all, to be honest, because the paint rubs off where the boots and stuff rub against the frame anyway, and the underseal would just rub off. It's just a nature of the beast, unfortunately. I just think they need to maintain them better. And there are some farmers that look after their bikes and keep them, you know, in good shape. But there's quite a lot that don't. And it's not just the two-wheelers. We see it with the ATVs and the RRVs as well. They just run them into the ground thinking that everything's going to be covered under warranty. And it isn't. You know, they're living in cloud cuckoo land, some of them. Anyway, crew, that's it. It's time for Andy to get his hands a bit more dirty now and crack on with this fabrication job, and then get covered in underseal this afternoon. Last job for the day. Bob Kinney, have a good day. Andy and crew, yes, thank you, Bob. Thanks for joining us. Those that have stuck through the whole hour and 50 minutes of Andy's dribble, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And for all the thumbs up, really appreciate that too. If you've not given us a thumbs up yet, please do. Different ways that you can support the channel. You can go on to Zazzle. There's a link in the description. You can go and buy yourself one of the many different Andy Mechanic official mugs. If you do, send through a selfie on an email, and I'll put you in the prize draw for some Teng tools and some Forge gear and some Andy Mechanic merch. That's going to be that draw will be held in December later this year, 2020. You can also go on to PayPal and flick through a few dollars that way if you like, or become a patron. Or if you'd rather, you can just share a few of the videos or share a link to the YouTube channel on your social media. Spread the word. Let's try and get a few more viewers on board. Okay, crew. Well, until next time, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and thank you again for all your comments. That's what gives me the content for these live streams, to be honest. I'll see you around. Cheers now. Over and out.